Good evening, Star Peoples. I'm your host, friend, and life coach, Mrs.Divine Awakening. What I do for people is I connect the intuition to intelligence, okay? And so today's segment, we're going to be explaining 10 different ways on how to raise your frequency when you're feeling like you're falling off of your spiritual game. Now, the spiritual game takes a lot of dedication and devotion. Every day isn't the same. Your progress doesn't seem as significant sometimes when you experience high spiritual phenomenon that occur to you as you're working on your development versus days when everything just seems kind of chill and normal. Or even sometimes life can get the best of us or can distract us from our spiritual focus because we have other things going on like, paying bills or taking care of children. For me, it was becoming a mother again. I was already a mother, but, having another child after years. So a lot of things can happen that will knock us off of our spiritual path, or it would seem like it. It's important for us to remember that nothing actually knocks us off of our spiritual path. Even if you feel like you start to regress, like let's say you're a vegan and now you're eating meat again and you know better or you know the significant difference that it made on your health, that doesn't mean that you're getting knocked off of your spiritual path. It does mean that you aren't as focused and dedicated as you used to be, but it does not mean that you are regressing. There is no regressing. Once you reach that elevated height from where you were at your lower self before you had woken up, you're already going closer and closer towards your higher self, and there is no turning back per se. So I'm going to give you 10 different tips on how to get yourself back on your spiritual game, or do a little bit just to raise your vibrations in case you're feeling like you're regressing in some way, or if you've fallen off. So if you do one of these things just every day, that lets you know subconsciously and reminds you about your power and the fact that it doesn't take much for you to focus on yourself and realize your divinity. So tip number 1 is to wear white intentionally. So if you feel like your vibrations are lower, intentionally wear white because white is a high vibration frequency color. And not all of these tips will I be explaining because I've done other videos where I've explained a lot of things. And sometimes, too, it's just good for you to sit and meditate on why someone said something before it dawns to you as why it's something that is actually useful for you. So tip number 2, drink more water. If your vibrations are low, water helps you to get everything kick-started, get your electricity flowing, and to shift you and give you that energy boost that you need. Tip number 3, write down any parts of your dream that you remember. So some dream work, interpretation, because the spiritual realm is actually merged within the physical realm. It's just that you can't see it as clearly until you go to sleep sometimes. And once you start to get yourself familiar with breaking down your dreams and decoding your dreams, you'll be able to detect the spiritual realm here in the physical realm as well. Tip number 4, fast from one thing during the day. And that doesn't even have to be anything that's planned. Let's say you're just feeling like today is one of those days where you just don't feel as spiritually high as you used to. Don't feel like your higher self. Feel like you're dropping in your lower self for whatever reason. Maybe something went wrong, or you're in a funk, okay? So maybe you're having a craving. So when I say to fast from something, fast from anything, it could be a craving. So let's say you're saying, okay, maybe I'm in the mood for some fries. I'm just going to probably get some French fries from somewhere. Refraining from going to do that, letting yourself know for whatever reason, maybe you told yourself you actually wanted to not eat fried foods anymore, or you were going to be saving money and every dime matters. So, throwing $2, $3 on fries is actually going against what you said you were going to do. Whatever the case is, you're going to want to refrain from some kind of a craving or fast from something that you enjoy. So that could be TV, it could be food, it could be talking on the phone, it could be whatever. Just fast from something that you enjoy. And like I said, something as simple as not going to get a craving like French fries or pizza and switching it to something healthier does that job right there. All right. So tip number 5 is to take a cold shower. So I'm not necessarily saying get in the shower and just have it cold the whole time, but definitely after you washed your body up in a temperature that you felt was relaxing, turn the temperature down, turn it all the way to cold before you get out. If you take a cold shower, even up for a little bit to get that burst of coldness, it automatically makes you get more air. It makes you want to breathe in more air in order to even tolerate it. And having to gasp for your breath like that to really like breathe in order to handle something is making you connect with your breath immediately in a direct way, in a conscious way, in a powerful way. So that connection to your breath is everything when it comes to a spiritual game. All right. Tip number 6. Ground. So go, even if you're going outside to walk your dog, going outside to check the mail, do something for the day where you're grounding, where you have your bare feet on the ground, in the dirt, in the grass. I'm not talking about the blacktop or the sidewalk. I mean in the dirt, in the grass. So even if you just go out, run and do a cartwheel or roll down a hill, do something to ground. Tip number 7 is to wash the soles of your feet. So if you come into the house from being outside, even if you do it after grounding, or even if you didn't ground, a good practice to remember who you are, to remember the inner being that's within you, is to wash the soles of your feet. So the Egyptians used to do a foot soak or a foot bath when they would come into their living quarters. They would wash their soles of their feet off from all the the dirt and everything from outside. But the soles of your feet are actually access points to your souls. So washing the soles of your feet reminds you subconsciously that you are aware of the soul within. Tip number 8, hum. Hum your favorite songs. Humming increases your vibrations. That is an ancient trick that black people used during slavery to raise their vibrations. They hummed. So there's a lot of hymns and things like that. I don't necessarily like hymns, but I do understand the importance of humming. So hopefully that song you're humming has some good lyrics, because when you hum, if you do know the lyrics, your mind will remember it. But just make up a beat to hum to, or if it's a good song that you like what it says, hum the song. It will naturally raise your vibrations. Tip number 9, say what you are grateful for every time you wake up. So I know for me, I'm a mother of a young baby, so I wake up throughout the night. A lot of times, each time I wake up for whatever reason, to check on things, or to nurse my child, whatever, I say what I'm grateful for, as many things as I can before I get up to do whatever I'm going to go do. And so that just puts me in a natural practice of, when I wake up in the morning, to thank the Creator for the universe, thank the Creator for everything that is aligned and set up for my life perfectly. Tip number 10 is to get rid of a label, okay? So I gave an example earlier, like if you are a vegan and you feel like now you're eating meat or something like that. So replace a label. If there's something you're doing that you feel like now you're in your lower self because you're doing it, because your higher version of yourself, you know better than to do this, get rid of that label. That means that you have a label there that is attached, that is actually what is lowering your vibration. So if you are a person who went from vegan to vegetarian and now you're feeling some type of way, like you're not vibrating as high as you used to because as a vegan you felt like this or like that, yes, that still means that if that's the state you want to be in, that you have some work to do. But in the meantime, in between time, get rid of that label of calling yourself a vegan or a vegetarian or a meat eater or whatever. A lot of times I'll say, like, I'm a conscious eater, but that's still a label within itself too. But that's one that gives me a lot more wiggle room. But at the end of the day, you could just drop all labels and just say, what my mentor likes to tell me is that you're eating love. Okay, he says, no matter what it is you're eating, whatever you put in your body, you want to know that it's something, that it's love, because love and above is a frequency that we are and that we resonate at. So at the end of the day, if you are feeling stuck in some way and it's about an action or a choice you're making, get rid of the label that you have behind it. So that was my 10 reasons, but I actually have a few more, so I'm going to go ahead and give you all those as bonuses, okay? Number 11, go without TV for 2 or 3 days. or even just lessen the amount of time you watch TV. Let's say you normally watch it as soon as you get home from work and all the way until you fall asleep in bedtime. Maybe just give yourself 30 minutes or an hour or watch one show, or go 2 or 3 days without it. Turning off technologies, electronics, especially the TV, has a way of shifting your focus back to yourself, or shifting your focus back to something that is more closer to yourself. Sometimes people pick up books because they turn the TV off, but the point I'm making is that TV is a big distraction, and it allows you to manifest things that you're not necessarily intending on manifesting. So just turning it off allows you to manifest the things that actually you probably want to see manifested. All right. Tip number 12, allow yourself to daydream. So just sitting there staring off and getting lost in a thought is actually something that is spiritual and will raise your vibrations. Tip number 13, write down or journal. Just one thing. So it doesn't matter what's going on if you just remember to journal. Even if you're saying today was a good day or tomorrow I hope it's better, that right there will raise your vibrations. And if let's say you're not journaling for some reason, or you don't want to, reading your journal, read a page or two from previous journal entries, that will also help raise your vibration when you feel like you've fallen off your spiritual game. Tip number 14 is for you to take 10 deep breaths. Okay? So to consciously and intentively breathe, and the prana, which is the life force, which is our connection, which is everything that we are, consciously breathing will raise your vibration and connect you to self-awareness, which is the breath. So 10 deep breaths is a good one to raise your awareness at any time, any moment. And it doesn't really take much effort to do so. It does take concentration. And you'd be amazed how hard it is to concentrate, to breathe in consciously for 10 long, deep breaths without getting distracted from anything else. So to just clear your mind and focus on breathing in for 10 times deeply is actually a feat in itself. So just doing that will tremendously raise your vibrations. And my favorite of all, I saved the best for last. I should include it in my top 10, but just the way I wrote it was, I just had a whole bunch of different ideas. But the very best one for last is mindful meditation. Okay? Mindful meditation has helped me tremendously when it comes to raising my vibration and knowing that no matter what, my spiritual game is elevated and staying elevated. It's constantly evolving. And just through the practice of meditation alone, I've learned what it feels like to meditate. I know when I'm in the zone. I know how much of let's say I meditate for 20 minutes. I know how much of that time was actually spent meditating in a deep meditative state. And so sometimes when I'm doing something intensively, which is like exactly what mindful meditation is, it's just focusing solely on doing one thing at a time. And sometimes when I'm doing that one thing at a time, I snap out of it recognizing that I was just meditating. I was just in a meditative state while doing whatever it was I was doing. So that could be me nursing, that could be me cooking, that could be me cleaning, that could be me working on some kind of homework or a lesson for my child because I homeschool. Whatever it is, that when you notice what it's like to meditate, you will notice when you're meditating throughout the day randomly. And that normally and typically happens when you are mindfully meditating. Therefore, you're not multitasking. You're solely focusing on one thing and concentrating only on that one thing. A lot of downloads can come through and you can completely get into the zone just by mindfully meditating. So mindful meditation is the number one tool that I use when it comes to raising my vibrations. And remembering that even if I feel like I've fallen off my spiritual game, I'm always evolving. So much so where it's simple to even meditate throughout the day. Even if I feel like, my child's up or I have things to do, you could always get yourself in that meditative states. Once you're aware of who you are, once you're aware of your connection to the breath, and once you're aware of yourself, you can always connect to that higher self that's within, because truly it takes a lot of devotion, dedication, commitment to reach your higher self, to chase your higher self, and to refrain from going back to your lower self. Okay? Your lower self, it never really dies or anything like that. It never really goes away. It's always there because it's still a part of you. It wants to be acknowledged. It doesn't want to go anywhere. And that's okay if it resurfaces every now and again. Greet it, let it know that you are aware that that's where you are at right now. But take the steps to elevate yourself and chase after your higher self, because at the end of the day, your higher version of yourself wants all the best things for you. Have a great day, Star Peoples.